A very good morning to our supervisor, Dr. Ng, and the second supervisor, Dr. Claudia. Before I start my presentation, please let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Ho Haoyan Alex, and I'm the leader of Group 16 as well for our FRP research. The title is The Determinants of Academic Stress Among the Undergraduate Students in a Private University in Malaysia. Without further ado, let me start the presentation for Chapter 1 Research Overview. For Chapter 1.1 Research Background, the variety of internal and external expectations make stress as one of the main components of the student university life. However, many persons believe that the stress has the least effect on the number of students. It is not shocking that the undergraduates sometimes may face stress in their studies and life while facing different kinds of challenges. Besides, Y4 2013 stated that the global mental illness has grown. There are claims that about 800,000 people are died from suicide each year, which is one person died from every 40 seconds. Stress and depression are the main suicide risk factors. As shown in Figure 1.1, teenagers who committed suicide in global had rates between the ages of 15 to 29. As shown in Figure 1.2, the suicidal rate in US continued to rise and worsen from 2001 to 2007. And according to this report, 83% of suicide were undergraduate, which indicated that 1,809 deaths, while the balance was postgraduate students, which is 221 deaths. In light of Wong 2019, at least 5 people in Malaysia killed themselves daily, and around 1,760 preventable deaths a year, as reported in Private University Reels 2019. 2 pupils of Malaysia's largest and most prestigious private universities committed suicide within 1 week. Both cases are occurred on May 6 and May 14 respectively. Therefore, the issue of academic stress is on the rise and cannot be neglected. And now, I will proceed to Chapter 1.2 Problem Statement, and also I will highlight 6 main issues from problem statement. First and foremost, the rising mental health and suicidal cases among young people provided an alarming sign of stress to the students, as reported by SHA 2018. Over 500 suicides have occurred in Malaysia from 2014 to 2018. In Seremban, a suicidal case happened because the melancholy student had high pressure related to the study. Secondly, there was a study combat stress level among the private university and the public university students. Of course, the students at private universities experience higher stress than the students at public universities. Thirdly is the stress of undergraduates who have a long-term impact on the country. Based on the Huda and Devi 2017, students are assets of any country. Fourthly other researchers focus and evaluated generalized self-efficacy that cause the university students academic stress, but they are not focused on the academic self-efficacy itself. Fifthly is the procrastination with academic stress contains many mental elements, so it is difficult to measure. And lastly is the high academic expectation does not always seems to have a positive impact on the students, because students may perceive stress and anxiety as the expectation is high. Therefore, this has drawn pupils' consciousness to the research to study the major factors of academic stress among the Malaysia private university undergraduate students. And now I will proceed to Chapter 1.3.1, General Objective. The general objective is to identify the determinants influence the academic stress among the undergraduate students in the private university in Malaysia. And for the specific RO is to determine the influence of these 3 IB: academic self-efficacy, procrastination, and academic expectation on this academic stress among the undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. And for the 1.4 research question is, does this 3 IB, which is the academic self-efficacy, procrastination, academic expectation, have a significant influence on academic stress among the undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia? For the hypothesis of study is the 3 IB, these three IB, which is academic self-efficacy, procrastination, academic expectations, and the two sub, which is academics expectation of self, expectation of parents, of lecturers, have a significant influence of academic stress among undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. And now I will proceed to significance of study. For the student perspective, students are able to identify the determinants of stress they are facing by them. And this reduced academic stress can help students further achieve better academic performance. And next is the private university or private higher education institution perspective. This research may present the education industry by offering comprehension of determinants of academic stress. When dealing with other private university students, university teachers, consulting department, and management will have better understandings of academic stress by figuring out the factors of academic stress. Lastly is the government perspective. The Ministry of Education may come out with solutions to cope with the academic stress of university students. And education policy and measures are needed or necessary to reduce the academic stress. And now, I will pass to next presenter to present the lead review. Thank you.
Good morning to Dr. Ng and Dr. Claudia. My name is Wesley. Now, I'm going to present Chapter 2. Let's start with the first underlying theory, social cognitive theory. Social cognitive theory expresses that academic self-efficacy is an essential factor for student achievement because self-efficacy affects student choices and actions. According to Bandura 1997, academic self-efficacy related to an individual belief that they can achieve academic goals successfully. In social cognitive theory, it explains that when there is a strong sense of self-efficacy, students will have high confidence in approaching a difficult task, set challenging goals, control challenging situations with assurance, and have substantial personal accomplishments, high stress management, and low vulnerability to depression. Moreover, social cognitive theory also explains the triadic reciprocal causation. There are three components which are the personal determinants, behavioral determinants, and environmental determinants. They act as the interactive determinants that influence each other in a two-way directions. The following theory is conservation of resources theory, or can be known as UTAR theory. UTAR theory explains to people how to retain, remain, protect, and build resources and what threatens to the people, which is the potential or actual loss of these very resources. In UTAR theory, individuals are striving to minimize net loss of resources as they encounter with stress. Moreover, stress will emerge when resources are threatened or fail to obtain the new resources. This theory not only emphasizes the risk, but critical life events also cause stress. Also, people are more affected by resource loss than resource gain. Next, I'm going to present the academic stress which under 2.2 literature review. According to Guma and Jana 2018, academic stress is an education-related anxiety and root cause of stress for young people. Stress is adverse reactions that are caused by encountering tensions or burden. Shah Muhammad 2011 mentioned that academic stress is mainly raised from examinations, complexity of materials and assignments. Academic stress will cause development problems and physical violence, for example, mental health issues. The following part is academic self-efficacy. Self-efficacy as a person who can reach desired outcome based on their capability. Jessica et al. 2005 mentioned that academic self-efficacy is student ability to complete academic duties. Moody et al. 2016 also mentioned that students need academic self-efficacy to build confidence in meeting academic demands and challenges. According to Shamus 2001, academic self-efficacy will influence stress. Next, procrastination. Procrastination is a behavior that intentionally delays decision-making. It is an obstacle that prohibits students from accomplishing goals and have negative effect on academic performance. According to Salem and Rafiq 2012, procrastination is a task delay behavior that occurs in academic field. Next, academic expectations. Academic expectations is expectations that involve in education. There are two components in this study which are the expectation of self and expectation of parents or lecturers. According to Binwit 2014, expectation of self are student knowledge, inspirations, and effect concerning an academic challenge. Ahmad 2019 mentioned that parental academic expectation indicated how far the parents have confidence in their children's ability in education. Lastly, according to Good 1987, teacher expectation refer to interference that teachers make about student expected behavior and their academic performance based on their student knowledge. Next, the proposed constructive framework shows that there are three independent variables which are the academic self-efficacy, procrastinations, and academic expectation of self, parents, or lecturers. The dependent variable is academic stress. Now, I move on to 2.4 hypothesis development. Ramati 2050 claims that low academic self-efficacy will lead to high academic stress. In addition, academic stress and academic self-efficacy among university students have secure negative correlations. Jajakova et al. 2005 claimed that stress and self-efficacy were closely related concepts. Next, move on to procrastination and academic stress. According to Hussein and Sultan 2010, procrastinations and academic stress has positive relationship. Moreover, procrastinations weaken academic performance and lead to academic stress. 2017 mentioned that procrastination behavior is the primary cause of stress. Lastly, I will present about the academic expectation and academic stress. Ang and Huan 2006 claims that academic expectations and academic stress have positive correlations. Academic self-expectation appears because academic stress would arise from high academic expectation. According to Sun 2012, Singapore Chinese youth face higher academic stress due to self-academic expectation. Next, Ang and Huan 2006 also mentioned that when students face high parents or teacher academic expectation, this might cause academic stress increase. That's all for chapter 2. The following presenter will going to present chapter 3. Thank you.
Alright, good morning to Dr. Ng and Dr. Claudia. My name is Yap Ching Wen, and today I would like to present chapter 3, which is related to our research methodology. Firstly, our research design are using quantitative method approach by collecting data from target respondent and analyze data through statistical method. Cross-sectional studies is also used to explain the determinants of academic stress among undergraduates in a Malaysia private university. Self-administration questions are developed through Google Form and shared to our target respondent. Furthermore, for the data collection method can be categorized as primary data and secondary data, as primary data is applied in the research, which is the online questionnaire created in the Google Form. Next is the sampling design. In short, our target population is 18,666 undergraduate students in University Tunku Abdul Rahman. The sampling frame will be among the undergraduate students for all faculties, and the sampling location will be at Kampa and Sungai Long campus. Besides, the sampling elements included all undergraduate students in UTAR with no restriction on age, gender, races, religion, and nationality. The sampling techniques is using non-zero probability sample, and quota sampling is used in the research. The last element in sampling design is the sampling size. The minimum number of respondents to be collected for our research is 377 respondents, and 800 sets of questionnaires are distributed to the target respondents to reduce unresponsive bias and the possibility of refusing to participate in a survey. The presentation will be moving on with research instrument. The questionnaire design of our study is divided into section A and B. Close-ended question will be used in the whole survey, and linked skills is used in the section B. For our pilot study, 13 questionnaires are distributed among Kampa campus, and expert judgment is used in our survey. The appendix 3.4 shows the pilot test result. For the next slides will be construct instrument. The skills measurement used in our research is nominal skill, ordinal skill, and interval skill. The sources that we adopt for our questionnaires is shown in the table below. Moreover, is the set for data processing. First, researcher will do data checking to determine the completeness of the questionnaire. Next will be data editing. Researcher will correcting the errors which is unclear, inconsistent, and omission answer. Data coding are all the information will be coded into SPSS software. And the last step will be data transcribing. The system will analyze and generate reports once the data is entered into the software. Last part of my presentation will be the data analysis. The descriptive analysis is to analyze the demographic information of the respondents such as age, gender, and races. Next will be the reliability analysis. The analysis is to test the consistency of the researcher question measurement, and Combach alpha value is used to measure the reliability. Last but not least, the information analysis used are Pearson correlation coefficient and multiple regression analysis for our studies. The table shows the rule of thumb about Combach alpha coefficient size. All of our variables in the studies falls on range of very good except procrastination, which falls on the range of goods. That's all my presentation, and I will pass to Zihao to present chapter 4. Thank you.
Good day, Dr. Ng and Dr. Claudia. My name is Ong Zihao, and now I am going to present the chapter 4 data analysis. For chapter 4, it consists of descriptive analysis, scale measurement, and inferential analysis. For descriptive analysis, it consists of the demographic information such as gender, races, age group, nationality, CGPA, faculty, and the campus location. For important information, this research consists of 800 respondents, which the respondents are UTAR students. Amongst these 800 of students, 523 of them are from Kappa campus and 277 of them are from Sungai Long campus. The faculty that occupy the highest proportion of respondents is the Faculty of Business of Finance (FBF), and where the faculty that occupy the lowest proportion of the proportion is the Institute of Chinese Study (ICS). Next, the standard tendencies measurement of construct. For the first variable, academic self-efficacy, it consists of 20 items, which the highest mean statement is 4.1137, that the statement is stated as I ask for help from my friends when I have issues in subject matters, where the lowest mean statement is I ask a question in lecturers, which have a mean value of 2.9013. And the second variable is procrastination, which have a total of 19 items. The highest mean statement is when I am finished with a library book, I return it right away regardless of the date it is due, which have a 3.5063 of the mean value. And for the lowest mean statement is I do not do assignment until just before they are to be handed in, with a mean value of 2.6613. And for the academic self-efficacy, it is separated into two, which is expectation of selves and expectation of parents or lecturers. For the expectation of selves, it consists of four items, which the highest mean statement is when I fail to live up to my own expectation, I feel I am not good enough, where it have a mean value of 3.9487. And for the lowest mean statement is I usually cannot sleep and worry when I cannot meet the goals I set for myself, which have a mean value of 3.4338. And for the expectation of parents or lecturers, which consists of 5 items, the highest mean statement is I feel I have disappointed my parents when I do poorly in university, which have a 3.5875 of the mean value. The lowest mean value for the expectation of parent or lecturer is 3.0612, which the statement is I feel lousy when I cannot live up to my lecturer's expectation. And the last variable is the academic stress, which consists of 21 items. The highest mean statement is I felt emotional with a 2.875 of the mean value, and the lowest mean value for academic stress is 1.3175 with the statement of I use alcohol or drugs. Next, the scale measurement is, for this part, is all talking about the reliability test. From the table, we know that academic stress has the highest value of the Combach alpha, which is 0.91, and only procrastination has been graded as the good reliability, and for the others variables such as academic self-efficacy, academic expectation, academic selves, their reliability has been graded as a very good reliability. And lastly, the inferential analysis. It consists of Pearson correlation coefficient and the multilinear regression analysis. First, the Pearson correlation coefficient is discussed about the relationship of the independent variable with the dependent variable's academic stress. From the table, we know that only academic self-efficacy have a negative and a weak relationship with the academic stress. This is because its Pearson correlation coefficient is in negative value. And for the procrastination and the expectation of self and expectation of lecturers and parents, although their Pearson correlation coefficient value are different, but both of them have a positive and a small but definite relationship with the academic stress. In the conclusion for this part, all independent variables have a significant relationship with the dependent variable. This is because their p-value is 0.0001, which is less than the alpha value 0.01. And lastly, the multilinear regression analysis, which is talking about the first is talking about the multicollinearity test. According to the table, the total variance inflation factor of all of the variables is not more than 10. Hence, there is absence of multicollinearity. This indicates that there is no problem in running the multi-regression test. And from the model fit table, from the model fit test, we know that the R square is 0.262. This means that 26.2% of the dependent variable can be defined by the independent variable in this research. However, the remaining 73.8% can be defined. The remaining 73.8% of the academic stress can be defined by the other independent variables that is other than academic self-efficacy, procrastination, and academic expectation. And lastly, the multiple regression test has we can form an equation for the multiple regression test, which is the academic stress equal to 0.254 plus negative 0.283 of academic self-efficacy plus 0.197 of procrastination plus 0.291 of academic self-expectation plus 0.142 academic parents or lecturers' expectation. From this equation, we know that academic self-expectation has the strongest influence to the academic stress. This is because its beta value 0.291 is the highest among the independence variable. That's all for the presentation for chapter 4, and now I will pass to the next presenters. Thank you.
Good morning to Dr. Ng and Dr. Claudia. Now I would like to present Chapter 5, Discussion, Conclusion and Implications. I will discuss descriptive analysis, inferential analysis, implications of the study, limitation and recommendation in this chapter. First of all, descriptive analysis. Gender, age group, respondent CGPA, respondent faculty, and respondent campus are discussed in the descriptive analysis. There are 800 sets of respondents participate in the survey. The table shows the average mean and average standard deviation for all of the variables. Continuing with the inferential analysis, there are Pearson correlation coefficient analysis and multiple linear regression analysis. According to the result, the correlation between academic stress and procrastination is the most significant compared with other independent variables with a value of 0.308. The Pearson correlation coefficient analysis results show an association between all independent variables with the dependent variable. However, the range of the value of the four independent values fall within 0.1 to 0.39, which means all variables have only a weak strength of association with the dependent variables. Among all the independent variables, only academic self-efficacy was negatively correlated with academic stress, others were positively correlated with academic stress. All of the independent variables are p-value is 0.0001, which fall below alpha value of 0.05. As a result, the proposed model is sufficient to define the significant influence between the independent variable and dependent variable. Next, implications of the study. This study provides additional knowledge to the existing research about academic stress. Specifically, this research was conducted among the undergraduates to identify the determinants of academic stress. Less academic stress due to high self-efficacy. high academic stress due to high expectation of the student and expectation of parents or lecturers, and high level of procrastination leads to high level of academic stress. This study further supports the Bandura argument in the social cognitive theory, which explains the individual is motivated and goal-directed when through their belief on self-efficacy and the outcome expectation on their action carried out in a specific social context. The theory also mentioned that the person with high self-efficacy has more exceptional ability to manage academic stress. Furthermore, the conservation of resources (COR) theory stated that people have the sense to maintain, gain, and protect the resources. According to Hopford 1989, stress is emerging when the individual is failed, threatened, or lose the opportunity to gain new resources. Expectation is also considered as one of the resources, as mentioned in the theory. Hence, the undergraduate student faced with the high academic stress because of the high expectation of themselves and expectation of parents or lecturers. Both of the theories emphasize helping the researcher to enhance their understanding in academic stress. Continue with the next slide. Practical implication. This study helped the student to understand the factors are essential in controlling their stress. Besides, students will have awareness about controlling procrastinate behavior, adjusting their academic self-efficacy, and academic expectation to relieve some of their academic stress. As for university, this study helps to identify the extent of procrastination, academic self-efficacy, and academic expectation in influencing academic stress. Lecturers should avoid setting too high of academic expectation that result in student academic stress and give appropriate compliments to the student. Moreover, this study also led the parents to aware about the student academic stress issue. Parents should avoid giving too high expectation to the student to reduce their academic stress. The government also can understand the determinants of academic stress and enhance the Malaysian education policy to reduce student academic stress. It could also assist the private university to reduce the student academic stress. Now let's move on to the next slide. I will discuss the limitation of this study and recommendation for future study. In the light of COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, respondent identity was one of the main concerns. The sampling was conducted through quarter sampling in the researcher network and disseminated through the Google form through the different social network media such as Facebook and Instagram or WhatsApp. The researcher not randomly chosen the respondent as they could not access the name list of all the UTAR undergraduate. As a result, there might be a possibility of a prejudice because of non-UTAR undergraduates might participate in the survey question A. So this may lead to potentially influence the result. So, future researchers are recommended to request the respondent to fill in their student ID and UTAR email in the survey, but not expose their name as it affects the confidentiality of the respondent identity. So, student ID and UTAR email should not sign with the name list so the student name will not expose in the survey. Besides, the other limitation of this study is one of the independent variables composed of two different independent variables. This measure for expectation of parents or lecturer was adopted from Ang and Huan 2006. Also, Ang and Huan 2006 concluded that academic stress is directly affected by parental or lecturer's academic expectation. However, the measures used for this study may reduce accuracy for the information as there might be a deviation in terms of expectation from parental or lecturers. So this might also confuse the reader as two dependent variables merge and turn into one independent variable. Therefore, future research is recommended to separate the independent variable to improve the accuracy of the information. Based on the R-square value, the independent variable in this study can explain 26.2% variation in the dependent variable. However, 73.8% was unable to explain by the independent variable. The R-square value, 0.262, was relatively low. Future research is recommended to study other determinants of academic stress such as optimism, resilience, and social support. Besides, this research has faced a respondent error. Some respondents refused or unwilling to participate in the question A because total questions in the question A were 76 in the questions, as this might consider plenty for the respondent. Also, some respondents might have difficulty understanding some questions and the researcher were unable to provide immediate clarification as the question A was not distributed in person. Hence, future researchers should keep the question A in a shorter format to ease the respondent to understand the content. Last but not least, the last limitation of this study is scope of coverage. This research may not represent all the undergraduate students from various Malaysian private universities, as the sampling location was only based on UTAR Kampar campus and Sungai Long campus, which limits the generalization of the data obtained from this study. So, the researcher can acquire more respondents from different geographical areas or various private universities to get more accurate results. Thank you.